Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another really cool pinball repair video for you today. This is a game we've had for a long time. We bought this many years ago, and it was in almost destroyed condition. And so we've had it in storage for years. This is A Nightmare on Elm Street, the Freddy Krueger pinball machine by Gottlieb from the 90s. Really fun game. But we bought this off of a guy many years ago, and it's in just god-awful condition. So we've been storing it for a long time. We finally decided that we're going to fix it up. It's going to cost some money and a whole bunch of work. This may be the worst condition one still floating around that hasn't been completely parted or fixed. So we're going to fix it. Now, the story that we heard about this pinball machine is the guy had it out on location in a bar, supposedly. I don't know if this actually happened, but this is what the guy said. He had it out on location in a bar. Guy was playing it, got mad at the machine, or maybe wasn't even mad at the machine, but anyway, guy gets drunk, decides he wants to steal Freddy. Now, you know, in this game, Freddy's head is up there and he talks to you. So he breaks the glass with his hand, reaches in the machine, rips Freddy's head off the machine, steals it, and leaves. So when we got this game, it had been sitting in storage for a while. The glass was shattered. We've cleaned up a lot of the glass so we can put it in our showroom here. You can see the pieces of glass laying all over the place. And the most major thing was Freddy's head was missing. Right? So, kind of befitting the movie, everything in this game is destroyed. It was stored somewhere where it got, I don't think it got wet because the wood's fine. I think it just got moisture in the air. And so all of the metal has rusted. Pretty much everything has rusted. So you might say, why would you even try to save a game that's missing major parts and has rust all over it? Because it's, one, it's a great game, and two, the parts that are important aren't messed up. So for instance, let's look at the cabinet. Now the rails, let me show you the other side where it's really bad. The rails are really rusted up. So we're probably going to have to put new rails on it. Right? But the actual cabinet, like if you look at the artwork, it's in nice condition, really. There's nothing wrong with it. Like look at the back box here. It's nice and solid. It's in good shape. So it's kind of an enigma. The cabinet itself is in very nice shape, but all of the metalwork is rusted. And so let's look at the playfield. So the playfield's the other part that you can't really replace, and it's certainly filthy, but it's in pretty good shape because it's got full Mylar on it. So it's got a couple issues. There's a pretty bad wear spot right here, which is kind of common on this game, right? But that's, you know, you don't even hardly see that. And then there's a little bit of wear around the ball exit hole down here, right? But that's not that noticeable either, and that can be touched up and stuff. But all in all, the actual playfield is in pretty damn good shape, really. It's not that bad. The cabinet's not that bad. The cabinet's actually pretty nice. It's not bad at all. Look at the artwork on the front. Got a little chip there. So this kind of tells the tale. The bottom's always ate up on any pinball machine. Nice and solid. So the cabinet's in good shape and the playfield's in good shape, which are the only two parts that you really have trouble getting. So whenever we got it, the other part, the other real problem we were going to have was Freddy's head. His head was missing. And that's like the main part of the game. He talks to you while you're playing it. You can see his dismembered jaw was still on there, but his head's missing. And it's this real stylized, crazy looking sculpture that's missing off the machine. So we put it in storage and we started looking for that piece, and we couldn't find one, didn't find one. Years went by. And then a while back, one popped up on eBay, and we were able to purchase that head, like the actual part, the correct one that somebody had either taken off another machine, or maybe it was the one off this machine. I doubt it though, but or maybe it was a new old stock one, who knows. But we actually found his freaking head, people. Found his head. Now, a lot of this metal stuff, you can get replacements for that too. So that's not that big of a deal. We do have a plastic broke right here.
We actually found his freaking head, people.
And then the other major thing is there is a plastic that goes right here that is the Nightmare on Elm Street house. It's missing. So we're going to try to mod something up. We're going to try to like make a wooden house where it looks like a mod or something. But we'll figure out what we're going to do with that down the road. But I just wanted to film this and show the horrible condition that this thing is in when we start. Now this thing isn't going to be a perfect restoration. It's not going to look brand new when we're done, but we're going to make it pretty nice. We're not capable of really making one look new. That's just not going to happen. But we can make it look a hell of a lot better than this. Right? We just did these three. So this is an old EM. Of course, it wasn't in as bad a shape. And this old Comet, if you saw the video on it, it wasn't in as bad a shape, but it was pretty rough whenever we started. So you can expect something comparable to that whenever we're done. It's not going to be a showpiece though. One of the things I don't understand is why are all of the flipper things missing? They couldn't have broke off because the screw's gone. Like on these Gottliebs, there's a screw that holds it in place. So maybe they just started parting it or something. That would explain why the Freddy house is gone, or maybe the guy stole it too whenever he stole the head. Crazy stuff, people. So we'll look over it really slow. The flippers are rusty, not that big of a deal. Plastic, they look fine. You've got rust on all of the metal work. Now on like this big ramp, I think that can all be cleaned up. It's going to take a lot of elbow grease, but I think it'll clean up. The plastic ramp is pretty cracked up. It's cracked here, and I think the piece is cracked off the end of it up here. So that may need some work or replaced if we can find one. The glove has broken, but they always do that. All of these gloves are like this. The way this works is the bottom piece is a piece of metal that actually knocks the ball off the playfield. This one's all bent up. He comes out and knocks the ball off the ramp. And then the top ones are all plastic, but over time the ball hits the plastic ones, the plastic claws, and breaks them. But they make a reproduction of that, so we'll be able to get that. They have new old stock, all of the labels like this one, so we'll be able to get that. There's also along Freddy's neck, there's a bunch of like souls trapped in his throat or whatever. It's like a rubber piece. They make that, so you can get that again. There may be another piece like that on here. I can't remember yet. Here's the end of the plastic ramp that's broke. I believe that went up in there somewhere. Anyway, obviously that's broke. So, rough, man. We're not trying to say, we're just saying this thing is rough. Very, very rough. Some of these parts, like the metal parts, like look at this thing. See this little ramp flap? Look how rusty that is. We're going to try to clean all of them with like Evapo-Rust. Like put them in an Evapo-Rust, I think that's what it's called, bath, and see what comes off of them. But stuff like that, I doubt that's going to clean up. If it does, it'll be a testament to Evapo-Rust. So stuff like that, we're going to have to find another one. But some of these parts like that are in a... This piece here is pretty rusty. You got a couple targets that are froze up and messed up. So all of this, basically we're going to take everything off the playfield. And then up here where his head is, this scoop is all rusty, but it's all hidden, so we might be able to paint that, clean it up and paint it and put it back. The sockets are all rusty, we can replace those. We've got this metal diverter up here. It's bad, people. It's a big, here's more glass. But it kind of fits the theme, doesn't it? Have you ever seen one this much of a horror show? It's got the speaker panel, which apparently somebody had put a big sticker on. We got to clean that off, obviously. It's got the translight, which is filthy, but I think will clean up nicely. Doesn't look like it's damaged at all. So that's what we're looking at. So what I'll do is I'll pop the, let's pop the hood, and then we'll look at what kind of condition it's in inside. So here's what the underside looks like. It's actually in much better shape than the top side is. So you've got Freddy's claw mechanism. He does the ball save by cutting through the playfield. That's always pretty cool. There's some minor rust on some of the stuff. This is probably the worst I've seen right here. That bracket is pretty bad. But then you look at like this one and it doesn't have any on it. So it was just stored somewhere where there was a lot of moisture in there. But most of the stuff looks pretty good. It all needs to be worked through, obviously, and cleaned up. But the bottom of the playfield is in much, much, much better shape than the top of the playfield, which is good because there's motors and things. And so if the motor was burned up, that would not be good. Yeah, it might still be. I don't know. We haven't tested it. The cabinet itself, again, is in pretty good shape. There's a couple boards in it. Of course, that belong in the back. That one looks like a transistor's burn up, which isn't that alarming. That happens on lots of games. That's not a big deal. And that stuff there, looks like something burned up, but it's not. It's some kind of something leaked or something. It's not. Nothing was burned. It looks like somebody spilled drink or something. I don't know how that happened. But all in all, underneath it's not bad. All of that's fixable. It's not any worse really than your average pinball machine from the early 90s, in my opinion. So we'll work through all that, get everything doing what it should. But since we've got a pretty good bottom of the playfield to start with, it won't be as bad. The top of the playfield is going to be the real hard part. So what I'll do now is I'll take the back glass out so we can look in the back box. This is what we've got in the back box. So this is the soundboard. It's still present. That's good. This is the speech board, I think. I think I've got that right. It's still present. Also good. This is the CPU board. It's still present. The driver board, you saw it in the bottom, and then whenever we got it, it was missing the display board over here, which runs the DMD. The display board was missing. That's kind of the most important, the most valuable board, but we were able to buy one of those used. It's also missing the power supply, but those are very inexpensive. You can buy those for like 30 bucks. But we have one of those too. So we've got all of the boards for it, but when we got it, it was missing the power supply and the display board. The driver board was inside of it. But again, it's the same story. Everything up here looks pretty good. So it's very savable. It's just the playfield. The first thing we're going to do is take everything off of the playfield and see what we're missing, what we need to clean, and just try to get it back down to the wood so we can start cleaning that and getting it going. So I'm going to set up the tripod to where you can watch us take all the stuff off the top of it, and we'll go through it a little bit and check it out after we get everything off. this is what we found whenever we took all the stuff off. Glass all in it. Trash all in it. The mice have been in it. So I think we can honestly say this is probably the worst Freddy in the world at the moment. We didn't take everything off, but we probably will. We have to clean up a little bit first. Some of the stuff we can't take off without getting under the playfield. Then we're going to order a bunch of stuff. Luckily, Pinball Resource got a bunch of the parts. So, I'm going to vacuum it all up. And then clean it off and see what we're left with. We went crazy with the shop vac, and I think we've got all the glass gone. I don't see any more glass. So all the glass is out of all the little cracks and crannies and everything. The subway was pretty much full of glass. There's a subway that goes between here and here. So basically, you lose the ball in the boiler room, and then Freddy spits it back out. So, we had all kinds of stuff break. If you saw whenever I was taking the post loose, the screws basically were rusted to the T-nut underneath. So whenever I was turning them, the screw would break. So a lot of the screws broke. So we'll have to replace those. Basically, we'll have to pound the screw out, the T-nut out, and then put a new one in and put a new screw in it. That's not that big of a deal. And it's not that strange. That happens on a lot of games. There's all kinds of special mechs just for Freddy. There's this ball saber claw. It's working good. There was the ball claw up there. It's broke. Of course, there's this head that talks. There's the boiler room door. I don't know if it works. It's got these special Gottlieb double, I think they call them kickback switches. But so basically, if you hit that, if you hit it a certain way, it like slingshots the ball back at you. So there's one there. There's one here. There's one here. They weren't working, but it was because there was glass stuck behind them. So the next thing is, oh, this was all the drop targets. The drop target trough was full of broken glass. So the next thing is we need to clean. It's probably going to take like a week to clean this thing. But we need to clean. And then before we put everything back on it, we're going to have to try to see how much rust we can get off all of the metal parts. I still need to take all these ball guides off too. So these will have to come off. Those are a little tricky. You have to put something on the playfield and then kind of pry them up, but you have to put something down so you can't just pry on the playfield. You'll cut it all up. So we'll pop those off, but we just figured we'd film a video of our progress. Now we'll probably stop here. That's probably enough for this video. We've pretty much disassembled the playfield and cleaned it up, so you can see what we're starting with. So if you watch the first video, it shows it in untouched condition. This video is going to show it how we took everything off the playfield and what we ran into and all the glass and everything that was hiding from us. And I'll show you real quick. These are all the parts that we removed. This is a Pinbot that we're working on next. These are all the parts that we removed, and you can see we just kind of laid them on the playfield of the Pinbot in a somewhat order of where they were on the playfield of the Freddy. This is a Pinbot that we're working on next. These are all the parts that we removed, and you can see we just kind of laid them on the playfield of the Pinbot in a somewhat order of where they were on the playfield of the Freddy. Should we have just thrown it in the landfill, or is it worth Okay, we're back here in one of our maintenance rooms, and this is Evapo-Rust. Comes in a jug. I think you can get it at Lowe's, but basically it evaporates rust. So we've got a bunch of parts from the Playfield that are crazy rusty. We're probably going to order new ones of these because they actually make these, or still have new old stock ones of these. And these actually even still have decals on them. But you can see they've just got rust all over them. So we're going to throw all kinds of stuff in this Evapo-Rust and see which parts it saves and which parts it doesn't. So all you do is you just submerge it in the stuff. And we're going to put as much rusty stuff as we can put in it. And then you leave it, on the instructions it says for between an hour and 12 hours. I haven't found that it messes it up if you leave it too long, but we're just going to leave it in there till tomorrow sometime, pull it out, and see if it saved any of our parts. So we're going to dump in all kinds of screws, all the metal stuff that we can fit in there. The stuff that's bigger, you can actually spray it with it and wrap paper towels around it and stuff, but you basically just have to keep it wet on it. So all of the smaller pieces are all going to go in this, and we'll see if it saves any of them. And then we're going to put together a list of all the stuff that we need to order to replace whatever's not usable. This is the product here. We've used this before, and the stuff's pretty amazing. Which we'll see. We'll see if it is. Because we've got some really nasty, rusty stuff. So we'll see if it saves any of it. Here's the instructions if you want to pause it and read any of it. But you can probably find all this online. Works great on rusty stuff. A little expensive though. So here are the Freddy parts. I've actually left them in there about a day and a half. So it's been, let me think, maybe a little longer than that, almost 2 days. It's been about 42 hours. So what I'm going to do is, this is just the first batch. I'm going to do some other stuff too. But what I'll do is I'll pull these out, and then we're going to rinse them off with water. I don't want to get the water in this stuff though, the Evapo-Rust, because you can reuse the Evapo-Rust. It's pretty cool stuff. But I'm going to pull those out, and then you're supposed to rinse them. So I'm going to rinse each part off and put them in this bucket, and then we'll carry them out to the front counter so you can see them. I'll pull one out though just to show you kind of where we're at. This was that scoop thing. It was pretty nasty. Let's see here. Well, so yeah, that's pretty nice. Let me find those weird little rounded things that were so screwed up. See if this part here, you remember it. It cleaned up pretty good, but it might still not be usable. Yeah, this thing. So this thing was destroyed. You can see it got most of it off, but it's still kind of rough. So we'll probably order one of those. But I'll clean it all. I'll rinse it all off, put it in the bucket, take it out front, and then we'll do a little video of it. So this is what we came up with. We pulled it all out. We rinsed it off, and then dried it off and laid it on a towel. So a couple things. I don't know if I got a good enough picture of how these were before we put them in, but they were really bad. As you can see, the pitting is still there because that's damage that was actually done to the metal, but the actual rust is gone. So it's gotten rid of all of the rust. Now on the bottom side, they look really good. These two pieces here were really bad. I mean, they had rust all over, and you can see that it didn't even damage the decal. So it made them where they're probably usable like that, but these particular pieces are pretty inexpensive, so I'm just going to rebuy those. All of this stuff that is like the ball guides. Look at that, it's got like a mirror finish again. That's all completely usable in my opinion. Now it's not perfect, you know, if this was a collector's quality machine you wouldn't want that on there, but man, for up at the top of the playfield, I mean, that looks great. This piece here goes right into the Elm Street house that we're going to have to remake, and it's pretty damaged, you know, it's pretty pitted, so I'm going to replace that because you can get that brand new still. This piece here is what holds up basically the Elm Street house, and it, you know, look at that. I mean, it cleared it up really well. So one thing about it though, you can see on the back, it's a good example. Mirror finish, but look, that one is black. Like it's not even chrome anymore. And see, that is just the one piece. So I think what happened, remember I left it in almost 2 days. I think what you can see on the front, it's similar. I think what happened was, if the pieces are like, I'm no expert on plating, but if the pieces are like chrome plated, it cleans them up really well. I believe that piece probably was just, it wasn't plated. So, or it was plated a different way. So maybe it was like zinc plated or something. Again, I'm no expert, but it actually messed it up. It turned it like a dark color. This is another good example. This one is the piece that supports the, well, have I got that right? No, let's use this one. This one is the piece that supports the ramp. It goes up in the top on the left, and it's the same thing. It's not plated. Maybe it was zinc plated or something like that, and so what it actually did to it was discolor it. But it did get rid of all the rust too. So on all of the bright work, we'll call it, look at that. Completely saved it. So we can reuse a lot of that stuff. All of the screws, similar. It got rid of all of the rust. Do you see any rust? I mean, it got rid of everything. But they're not all bright and shiny, you know. But look at these, like these posts. These things were horrible. Man, they had rust all over them. Look at that. Cleaned them right up. So those, I think, are reusable. Some of the stuff, like these acorn nuts, maybe you put new ones on that because they don't cost anything. But you can see on these screws, it cleaned them up and got rid of the rust, but they're not, some of them aren't shiny anymore, and you get things like that going on. So if it's in a place where that matters, you might just need to buy new. All of the rails, it cleaned up pretty well. I'll show you one of these. You can see how from a distance it looks nice and bright and shiny, much better than it was. But if you get up real close, you can see that it's got little pitting and it's slightly damaged. Yeah, that's a good picture. So it's not perfect, but for what we're working on, folks, it's pretty decent. It even cleaned up some of the ones like this where the screw had broke in half as I was removing it because it was all rusted together. Look at that. And since it's a chemical, it gets in all the cracks and everything. So, in my opinion, that's some damn good stuff. This was the most important piece for me, really, because these things are like 30 or 40 bucks for a replacement one. Look at that. It cleaned it right up. Completely usable and saved the decal. Crazy. And I even left the pad on, and it didn't destroy that. That's actually usable the way it is right now. It's got a little bit of water in it. You can see in there it didn't clean all that up, but I'm not so sure a brand new one is all that clean in there. So this goes about, halfway up on the left side, something like that. Looks great. I'm gonna use it. Definitely gonna use it. Oh, and one other thing, the part where a couple places went black like that, I did have these in there, which are, I don't know what they are, but these were black, and now they're not quite as black. So maybe whatever was on that is now on that. I don't know. We're talking chemistry here, folks. I don't know much about it. But I know one thing, dump this stuff in Evapo-Rust and it'll make it look a lot better. Now you could probably take all of your screws and stuff and put them in a tumbler now and clean those up, but I don't have one of those. This is also a really bad piece. This was up in the top corner and was just coming apart, and I just threw it in there. It got rid of all the rust, but you know, all of the damage is still there, of course. I even threw like a coil stop in. Look at that. What can I say? It's good stuff. So I've got it back there, and now I'm working on a rapid fire, and I threw a bunch of parts from the rapid fire that were just completely disgusting in there. So, but all the Freddy stuff, we're gonna put all of the chrome stuff in that we can get in there. We still got some stuff left. Of course, this is all the stuff that we pulled off of it. The ramp, we're going to try to maybe submerge part of it, and then I don't know how we can submerge the middle, but maybe submerge that end and then submerge this end and then clean the middle the best we can, something like that. You can see this was the ball trough thing. You can see just the rust on it. That's in general about how the other ones were. And this is a great example. So this bright work here, look at this. I mean, these ball trails. Look at that. Now that part there where it's just rusted through, probably not going to fix that. That's still going to be on there, but you know, most of that rust it will probably get rid of. And then one of the worst parts was this Freddy's head. This is like the bracket under his head. Of course, all that's so damaged you can't fix that. But if this cleans up really good by putting it in that stuff, it may completely be savable, because it's not, you can't see it. It's under the head. But you don't want the thing filthy and rusty like that, because the ball goes through there. So, but if you can get it where it's cleaned like the other stuff is, completely usable. So we'll put some more stuff in there and keep working through it. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that stuff. Evapo-Rust. So I still have more metal to do, and I went and got, they didn't have any Evapo-Rust that were sold out because it's on sale for like $17. And so then I went to Lowe's and got this WD-40 rust remover soak, which is basically the same thing. I don't know if the ingredients are the same, but it's basically even in the same type of gallon jug. So I'm gonna try this stuff. I'm gonna pour it in a bucket, and then I've got this. This is the trough piece of the pinball machine. You can see it's got rust all over it, but I think this is gonna be a good one because I can't submerge the whole thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put this half in it, and then you'll be able to see whenever we get it out how well it did. So I'll get real close to it, so you can see down at this end. The pitting is about the same as it is in several spots on this end. Look, there's even a little piece of brass on it. So I'll put this in a bucket, and then we'll go back and we'll check it periodically, and we can time it and stuff and just see how it reacts. So we're using a different bucket. This stuff is actually clear. You can see right through it pretty easy. The other stuff, the Evapo-Rust, had kind of like a yellowish tint to it. So as you can see, we've got other stuff in there, but this is the trough thing that we were talking about. The top 3 inches or so of it is sticking out, and then it's completely submerged under that. So it's been about 2.5 hours, so I'm gonna pull it out and we'll see what kind of shape it's in. Okay, so it's been 2.5 hours. So this end is the end that wasn't in. You can kind of see some lines there where it was in. And then you can see it's removed most of the rust. There's still some pitting and a little bit of rust, I guess. Like that, still looks similar. But it's definitely getting there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back in for several more hours. And then we'll see. And again, this is the WD-40 stuff. So I'll pop it back in and we'll see what we get. Okay, so here's what we ended up with. I put the other end in as well. It didn't, there's a little bit of, it didn't clean up quite as good. It's definitely much cleaner and much brighter, but it didn't clean up quite as good as I thought it might. This piece was filthy, and we put it in too. This entire end was just covered in rust, and now it's all gone. So I don't know, it seems like it works pretty good on some pieces and doesn't on other pieces, but it definitely cleaned this one up enough that you can use it. These chrome pieces, the ones that are chrome plated like this, it cleans up really well. You know, if there's damage like that, of course it can't fix damage, but this one was rusted so bad that the weldment had broke. So it seems like if it's chrome plated, it cleans it up really nice, like that. But if it's not chrome plated, it doesn't clean up as nice. So I don't know if that's zinc plated or if it's just a different level of chrome plated. I don't know. But there you go, that's what it looks like. So hope you enjoyed that. So try the stuff out. I definitely like, I hate to throw anybody under the bus, so this is the WD-40 stuff. I think I like the Evapo-Rust stuff a little better. It's a little cheaper, and it works as good, or it may have worked a little better. And also the WD-40 stuff on the back of the can, it doesn't say anything about reusing it or anything like that. So they're not making that claim. But the Evapo-Rust stuff, I know you can reuse over and over again because we've done it. And the Evapo-Rust, it has kind of like a tint to it. It's kind of a yellowish tint to it, and the WD-40 stuff is more clear, looked more like water. But so I guess I figured they were probably the same exact formula, but I guess they're not. But either one of them work pretty good. You can get the WD-40 stuff at Lowe's. You can get the Evapo-Rust stuff at Tractor Supply and places like that, or you can order it online. I would go with the Evapo-Rust if it was me. But if you can't get your hands on that, the WD-40 stuff works pretty good too. So we're back here in our back room again, and the ramp is going to be a problem, obviously. So we're going to dip, you know, the end of the ramp is the most complicated anyway. So we're dipping the end of the ramp in the solution. We left it all night, and we'll check out the results. Look at this. The end is pretty good, and then you can see where it wasn't submerged. Look at that. Look at the difference. I think that's probably the best example we can give. Now, it's not completely cleaned up, but it's pretty freaking close. By the way, this is the WD-40 stuff, and I was, you know, we both seem to do the same thing, but look at that. So now we're going to rig it up and maybe put it in a different type of container where we can get it more submerged. And then the parts that you can't submerge, you can take a towel and wet it with the stuff, lay it on the item, which is what we're going to do here in the middle, and then wrap it with plastic to keep it wet, and it'll work as well. At least that's what it says on the Evapo-Rust stuff. So, well, I'm very pleased with that. So we're going to keep working through it and just see how much of this we can get the liquid on one way or the other. So here's the wire ramp. You can see this end I was able to submerge in that bucket, and it got it really nice. But then once it was out of the part that was out of the bucket, you can see it's still all screwed up, obviously, in the middle. And then the same thing on this end. The part in the bucket got really nice, but up where the fluid line was, the part that was sticking out is still screwed up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it back in this bucket, because if I put this just so, it'll be submerged and should work great. Look at that. Then we'll have that part underwater. And then the only part left will be the middle flat part, which I think I can do with rags and stuff. So we're going to transport our chemical into this new bucket. There you go. Leave your comments below. Let me know if you what you think, and if you've used it before. We'll see you on the next video.